We're here today on International Women's Day at the National Football Museum along with FC United's women's team. About 2 weeks ago, Helen Grant, who's the sports minister, said there are some wonderful sports which you can perform and do very well to a high level, and I think those participating look absolutely radiant and very feminine, such as ballet, gymnastics, cheerleading and even roller skating. So today, International Women's Day, we've come to ask women what they think of these comments.
Growing up playing football, playing cricket, playing sports that are classed as very male-dominated sports, I feel that I've always faced stereotypes. And obviously, without being funny, how you look in general day-to-day life is not necessarily how you're going to look playing these sports, no matter what the sports are. It doesn't matter if it's ballet, gymnastics or football, rugby, anything.
I completely agree with Mary. I did start off doing dancing when I was younger because back in the day when we was younger, that was what you was expected to do. But as the years have gone on, women's sport, there's a lot more women like doing rugby, football, a lot more, like Mary said, the male-dominated sports. There's a lot more women doing them sports, and they'd much prefer to do them sports than gymnastics and cheerleading. From my personal point of view anyway.
I don't agree with it. I just think if anyone wants to do any sport, they can. Sport's not really there's not one gender for that sport. I think it's just if you enjoy the sport, you do it.
A lot of women are probably self-conscious, and these sports are all sort of focused on figure and aesthetically pleasing sort of performances and things like that. So if you're looking from it from like a health perspective, it probably won't encourage more women.
I think it's not a lie. It is true that women who do perform ballet and gymnastics, cheerleading and everything else, they do look feminine and beautiful as they're moving. But it doesn't mean that women who do other sports, more sort of manly sports as people say, it doesn't mean that they aren't still feminine and beautiful as well. It's just a different way of moving. It doesn't mean that it's any less or more feminine in each sport. I think they're both just as feminine or beautiful as each other in the way that they move. When I was about 7, I didn't know anything about women's football, and then my neighbour started, and she said, I want to go, do you want to come with me? And then that's how we started then researching into stuff, but nothing was made aware to us about women's sport. We just had to go out there and find it for ourselves, whereas it'd be much easier to get women into football if they knew about it already and didn't have to look into it themselves.
Yeah, I'm really shocked, to be honest. It's quite stereotypical, quite outdated opinion. I am genuinely shocked by it, to be honest.
I think it's a bit Dickensian, to be honest. I think for me, the sport is about women actually rolling the sleeves up, pitching in, having a good time and getting muddy very often. I don't think it's something that we need to be doing to feminise women. I think we should be out there enjoying sport, keeping fit, getting active and just going for it. And why should we be wearing a tutu and keeping clean and glowing? You know, the Victorian saying, horses sweat, men perspire and women glow. No, women put a football kit on and they get muddy and they have great fun. To celebrate sort of International Women's Day, we've brought the team down, some of the women's players, to meet the public, to represent the club, to sort of engage with people about what people can do in sport, how they can actually get involved in football. They're doing some skills demos. What else are they doing? We're promoting the event that we've got next week for women's places at the match. So we're doing lots of different things, and we've already had a huge amount of interest. We've only been here and set up for an hour, and people are stopping from other clubs and from other sports and talking to us. So it's a really good way that we can use our women's team to engage with the public, and that's a real asset, I think, that the women's team brings to the club that we can actually use for community engagement.
I think, like, you need to look feminine, and ballet, like, don't get me wrong, ballet people are like, ballet and gymnastics is good for some people, but when you've got people who have certain body shapes who can't do ballet.
Her take on femininity is probably different to mine, I think. I am a former gymnast and I've taken up trampolining recently. which I love as well.
I just think, okay, that's a fair point, but you don't have to always look glamorous and stuff like that and be good. I mean, when you play football, you look a mess, you're like all muddy, your hair's everywhere, but still it's enjoyable. It helps you develop in what you do, and you don't need to look like perfect in order to be that good at something.
It's quite amusing because that's the last thing I think about when I'm playing sport is the way I look. And it just, something like that doesn't interest me at all, so it's a bit of a maybe for the girls who are into their appearance, to encourage them to play sports. It's like you don't have to be I don't know. Yeah.
It's probably an upper class thing that she just doesn't think that the working class can be as forward as we are. She probably expects that being upper class, that she can do, they do, and what they do and what she does is something above and beyond what everybody else does. But we're all the same. It doesn't matter what your background. It's finding the right sport for you.
Keep it up! Down there, stop it!
I actually started playing rugby when I was 6 or 7, and I played up to under 12s, to play mixed with the boys up to that age. And I think women struggle to say I play sport, because immediately that takes away from what people's perceptions of them. And I don't really understand why women don't want to go into sport. I think the other problems are obviously childcare and the fact that they want to stay at home with their kids, or they're taking their kids to things and it becomes the female role.
The physicality, the energy, the contact, to name a few.
Rugby union is one of the fastest growing sports. We've got teams cropping up all over the northwest, indeed all over England. So we know that girls want to come and play rugby. It's a great team sport, it has great values, teamwork and respect and discipline, as well as the keep fit part and making friends for life. What more could you want?
It doesn't matter like what you look like, anything like that. You can join in rugby. Like it doesn't have a certain look. Like other sports have, like you've got to look girly or you've got to be slim. Any position in rugby, there's different sizes, different people, and that's what I enjoy about it.
Like I said, it's the technicalities of it. There are so many things you've got to keep up with, and it is a mental game just as much as a physical game. And I thought, yeah, I can do that. I've watched it for years. I know exactly what's right and what's wrong. All I had to do was get physically fit and actually do it. Put it into practice, what I know I have in my mind.
I think Helen Grant needs to come down the rugby club and let her show her a thing or two, because clearly she knows nothing.
It just brings back memories of Sepp Blatter's outrageous comment that he made about women's football, to do with how the female players should just wear shorter shorts and tighter shorts. It caused a lot of uproar. Once again, we're here to play football, we're here to play the game. It doesn't matter what we look like or how we feel. We play the game and we want the fans to come and watch the football, the sport, like they would for the men, not for the fact of the way we look during the game.
Keep going! That's Keep it up! Down there, stop it! Go on! Well done, Kirk!